Hello and welcome to Guild Wars Players News, the podcast where we take a look at Guild Wars game series news and talk about content on our site, Guild Wars Players. I'm Sithrith, and today we have Draculetta.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
And we have Athelros.
Hey.
So this week, we finally got information on the Guardian Elite specialization. Last week, we remember, we got information about the Chronomancer, the Mesmer Elite specialization. The second one that we're getting information about is the Guardian, and it is called the Dragonhunter. Now, this is kind of different than... Well, it feels a lot more different from the base Guardian class than Chronomancer did from Mesmer. This one, basically, they've described it as a ferocious big game hunter that specializes in ranged combat and backline support. So
in other words, they're a ranger.
Yeah. In other words, they're kind of a heavy armor ranger. They get a longbow, and they get traps. So yeah, they're kind of a heavy armor ranger, basically.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
I mean, yeah, I was kind of confused when I read about this. A lot of people were expecting the ranger specialization to be Paragon. They tweeted out and they put it out on Tumblr, this concept art of a Guardian with these big blue wings and wielding the blue Azure Flame longbow, and people were like, oh gosh, Paragon because of the wings. Drac, you can probably talk about that a bit from Guild Wars 1.
Right.
What was the Paragon like?
Well, the Paragon was pretty much, you had wings, basically.
Right, yeah.
And I do know everybody that I read was for sure it was going to be the Paragon, because it seems like they are kind of throwing back to the original Guild Wars a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, with Chronomancer, they took a profession idea that they didn't actually implement in Guild Wars 1, but they had planned to, so that makes sense.
Right, basically what the Paragon was, they were a battle commander, they wielded a shield and throwing spears.
Okay.
And they would give boost, and they could also do hexes and conditions as well. They were
that sounds a lot like a Guardian, like a ranged
Guardian.
Right,
and Paragons in the original Guild Wars universe were known as the Guardian Angels of the Elonian people.
So, yeah, definitely very Guardian-ish.
Mm-hmm. And that's why, when they kind of had that thing out, it was like, oh, okay,
I know Aurora Peachy was tweeting a lot about her, hype for Paragon specialization. Wooden Potatoes put out a video talking about how sure he was it was going to be a Paragon specialization and stuff. So I think it was kind of a shock today when they put up the blog post and it was like, nope, Dragonhunter, we're going to be ranged with traps now.
Right, exactly. I saw this morning and I was just like, what? This makes no sense. You already had this class and it's the ranger.
Right.
How is this going to be different than the ranger is my question.
Well, I mean, they're still going to have the virtues. Like, if you've never played a Guardian before, basically their F1, 2, 3 skills are virtues. They give different kinds of buffs to you and your allies, and, the whole theme around Guardian is helping support your allies. So there's still going to be a lot of that going on with the Ranger. Oh my gosh, I almost called it a Ranger. Dragonhunter. But they are going to change slightly. So, for example, Virtue of Justice is going to become Spear of Justice, and you throw a spear. Usually, Virtue of Justice, it just makes all your attacks do burning damage. But with Spear of Justice, you throw a spear made out of light that pierces enemies, tethers them, and continually burns them. Virtue of Resolve, instead of just doing general healing, you sprout wings and leap into an area healing allies. Virtue of Courage, instead of just granting Aegis, it puts a shield wall in front of you and your allies that blocks all attacks for allies in the range. So there's still a lot of long-ranged support going on, but I don't know. I feel like that makes sense. Like, long-range support makes sense, and I can understand including DPS in that, but I just don't understand the kind of big game hunter angle that they're trying to go with on this. It doesn't... The other thing they have are traps now. They're light-based magical traps that a Guardian can imbue into the ground. I feel like even if they just called them something different, like marks or just emblems that they put on the ground that would trigger when an enemy goes over them, it would make more sense thematically. But I just don't understand the hunter theme going on.
Yeah, I think the theme is probably a bigger issue than maybe the weapon is.
Right, exactly.
Because
I think like if you look at what options they have for the Guardian, it's axes, which are kind of like would make him more related to warriors than anything else.
Right.
Daggers
These
seem
are weapons
even
that they
less.
don't currently have, right?
Yeah. Daggers are even less appropriate, to be honest.
Right.
I don't think a Guardian would use daggers in any kind of situation, really.
No, unless they were
Pistols.
like rune daggers or something.
Yeah. Pistols, Warhorn as an offhand, which is kind of not very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Rifles, short bow and longbow.
Right.
So they're not really like have a lot of stuff to work with as far as
Right.
Guardians go.
Yeah, I definitely don't have a problem with the longbow or the concept of ranged support, but just the theme, and I feel like theme is one of the big reasons I like so many of the classes or professions in this game, is the really strong thematic elements that the skills and traits have. So this kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. It feels unconnected to the Guardian class.
Perhaps they should have made it more, like, in terms of the theme, more defensive kind of thing. It's hard to kind of describe what you want a theme to be, but
yeah,
I think if they more like long range protection, like they have some of that, but maybe have more like the name alone is kind of.
Now that would make more sense to me to have it that, because that would be more Guardian like.
Well, that's the thing. The skills that they do mention in the post do sound very defensive or supporty. For example, there's a skill called Deflecting Shot that they can fire in an area that will destroy all incoming projectiles. So that's very defensive. You can shoot your symbol of energy into a targeted area using your bow, and it grants allies vigor. Stuff like that. It does seem very defensive, very supportive, rather than DPS, but
like
it's just the name and the theme, I guess.
In the post, they call them a backline support, but that thing is like they put that right at the end. That should have been.
It kind of conflicts with the big game hunter part.
Yeah, ferocious big game hunter that specializes in range combat and backline support. They don't really mesh. You can't like a big game hunter and backline support. It's kind of like they don't really fit together that well.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I'll probably end up playing it on my Norn Guardian, because gameplay-wise, it sounds pretty cool, and it sounds like in line with something I'd enjoy, but just the theme, I just don't get it. Chronomancer seemed more in line with the Mesmer. Like, it's obviously like a sidestep away from Mesmer, but you can see how it's connected to Mesmer skills. This, skills-wise, it makes sense. I can see how it's connected to the Guardian theme and the kinds of skills they currently have, but just, I don't get the Guardian, the Dragon, whatever. So that's Dragonhunter Guardian Elite specialization. This week we also found out about a incident in World v World. There was a cheater, a hacker, exploiter, whatever you want to call them, who was playing a thief and was basically, I don't know what they were doing, but somehow they were making it so they kind of went in and out of stealth constantly, or they just totally disappeared, but since they're a thief, it looks like they're just going in and out of stealth all the time. But way more than a thief normally would, and they're basically just unkillable in World v World. So people were very upset about this. I guess this kind of thing has been going on for a while. Finally, though, someone on one of the European servers recorded this on a video and posted it to the forums, and so the head of game security, which is a thing, apparently, was able to, by watching that video, figure out who this cheater was, found their account, logged into the account, stripped this character who was doing the cheating of all its equipment, threw it off of one of the bridges in Divinity's Reach to kill it, logged out, deleted all of its characters, and then banned the account. And made a video of all this and posted it on the forums. So there is a video of the security lead deleting these characters and stuff. And I know you guys have some feelings about this. Who wants to go first?
Not it.
Okay, Drac.
Well, I guess I can go first. There is precedent for them doing stuff like this, because in the original Guild Wars, they have done other things like publicly like this, not quite to this extent. So they're in the Guild Wars realm and in the ArenaNet world, I guess we'll say, there's precedent for them to do this. But I don't know if I like a game company doing this. I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny to watch, and it's like, oh, ha ha ha, sucks to be him, yada yada. But
it makes me feel kind of icky inside watching it.
Right. It's like
most game companies pretty much every other game company I can think of handles, their exploiters or cheaters or hackers or whatever. Like behind the scenes, we don't ever know what happened. If they get banned, maybe they get banned, but we don't know about it. We don't ever see it. They don't talk about it. And that's for, that way, people can't learn what the exploit was or what have you. So we still don't really know what this exploit was, I guess, so that's good. But I don't know how I feel about them posting a video of them deleting somebody's character like this.
Even if it doesn't show exactly what the exploit was, I feel like this it encourages people who seek negative attention. Like, there are people who enjoy being in the spotlight like this. Like, when I administrated a Minecraft server, at one point we recorded us destroying a griefer's house, and then we banned them, of course. But it was like this whole thing where we destroyed their Minecraft house or whatever. But that just, rather than discouraging people from coming in and griefing on our server, this actually encouraged more people because, they wanted to be in the video, like they want that little bit of attention.
Everybody wants their 15 minutes of fame, basically.
Right, exactly.
So this is all. To me, this is all this is doing you're just encouraging people to do this to see. Well, are you going to do it again? Are you going to show me getting deleted too?
Right.
So I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but
I mean, there's some weird people on the internet.
But like I said, there is precedent for ArenaNet doing this because they have done stuff with this. As well.
Drac, is your brain exploding right now?
Yeah, I just saw that. That's why I kind of paused.
For those who are just listening to this podcast,
and they even have the little picture too. That's
maybe actual Felicia Day, or maybe not actually Felicia Day. But Felicia Day says in our live chat, everyone deserves 15 minutes of fame. And I think Drac's brain started failing.
Yeah, it did. It did. I'll admit it. It did.
Either best novelty account for this podcast ever, or Drac's brain is actually freaking out.
I'm leaning towards best novelty account ever.
Yeah.
Well played, sir, if you are a sir. Well played.
Sir or madam or non-specific gender person.
I tip my invisible hat to you.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Go on, Atharos. I know you also have some feelings.
Yes, wait to hear what you have to say about this.
For the most part, I think I'd agree with Drac on this. It's kind of, like the whole point of it punishing them, and it's kind of like, you gave them a bunch of attention. They're probably going to take that and be happy with it. It's like, I'm internet famous now for being banned.
Yeah, exactly. That's.
I think for me, I kind of not really comfortable with this kind of public shaming, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Like, you're not going to be able to link this person directly to the game, like just saying, here it is, is that guy. But I don't know, it just, like you kind of said, it made you feel icky watching it. Mm-hmm. It's like, I'm just not really comfortable with it, especially coming from like a company doing it. It feels like kind of, I don't know, maybe call it unprofessional is a bit too much, but I don't know. It just, doesn't really feel proper to me. Like, it seems generally better to just handle it discreetly.
I feel like even just, like, without the video, it would have been fine to say what you did. Like, we deleted the characters and banned them. Like, that'd be fine. Because then it's like, okay, good. That's justice for cheating. But I feel like this is just the video is just a step too far.
Yeah, that's my stance on it, at least. It's a little too much.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that's Cheaters in World v. World. Drac, what is on sale this week?
Sorry.
I
got a Twitter that explained the whole Felicia Day thing.
Yep.
Anyway, stupid things not messing me up on the show. In the store this week, the Elegant Fan is 600 gems, and basically this is replaces what your dagger looks like. It turns it
is a focus.
Or a focus, I'm sorry.
That'd be cool if it was this fan dagger thing.
Yeah, it's a combat focus that looks like a elegant fan, like a Chinese fan. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't know. I've seen some people running around with them, but I'm like...
It doesn't really match any of my characters. But if you have that Imperial outfit from the Year of the Ram celebration, definitely would go well with it.
I could see that. That makes total sense. Also in the store is the Daydreamer's Finery for 700 gems. It is
Quite the outfit.
quite the especially the male version is quite.
The female outfit is pretty, general compared to
It's
other
pretty
Guild
pretty
Wars 2.
standard Guild Wars 2 female.
But the male one,
Yeah,
it provides
I
a
haven't
very
seen
nice.
anything in the game that's like that currently.
no.
It's got this real nice chest and ab window. It's great. Tumblr's been going nuts about it.
Yeah, it's quite the outfit. So it's in the store for 700 gems.
I'm wondering if it looks like that on the Asura, but then I realized I don't want to think about that.
I don't
have
even
not seen it on
want to
Asura,
think about
actually.
that. Yeah, I don't even want to.
Some things, I guess, are best left unknown.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thanks, Drek. Now moving on to news on our site. So this week, that_shaman, or just that shaman, whatever, is very well known in the Guild Wars 2 community for doing a lot of different. He does a lot of data mining, but he also does a lot of kind of tools and stuff for the community. Like he made one of the world boss timers that's used pretty extensively. And now he has put together a specialization calculator for the upcoming trait revamp. And so he has this nice little tool set up on Dolphy.net, and it lets you pick the 3 specializations that you're going to use, and then you can play around with the trait little hexagon things and, figure out your traits and stuff. Obviously, he's going to be updating this as we get more information about the different traits and stuff for the classes. It obviously does not include the elite specializations, because obviously we only know really about 2 of them, and we don't know too many specifics about it or what the traits are. This is based on that big live stream we had the other day where they went through every single class and the traits. But this is going to be really helpful, I think, once we do have all this trait information, because it'll be an easy way to play around with different trait setups without actually committing anything and spending points. So that's definitely very handy. And this week our poll was, when do you think Heart of Thorns will be released? And there's quite a variety of opinions. So first of all, the number 1 voted one was June to August of this year, with 39% of the votes. That's 13 votes. So a lot of people think it's going to be in the next couple of months. Then next up is September to October of this year, with 24% of the votes at 8 votes. This is what I voted for. I think it's going to be like late September. Then November to December of this year with 7 votes. 3 people said it's never going to come out. 1 person said it'll come out early 2016, and 1 person said it's going to come out mid to late 2016. What did you guys vote?
Vaporware.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I said the late September.
All right.
Yeah.
Thoros,
pretty sure
what's your
that's-
prediction?
Yeah, I think that September just seems to be a date that these game companies really like to release games and expansions and stuff on.
Yeah, September to November is a really popular MMO expansion time.
Yeah, June to August seems like a little off.
Like maybe if it's really late August.
Yeah, I guess. I can't think of a time a game's kind of come out that date, like a big time.
Guild Wars 2 originally released in August.
Well, there goes that, but
So
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm betting late September. So yeah, and lots of opinions in the comments as well. Mel said, I feel ArenaNet release information about a specialization every other week, similarly to what they did with Professions prior to the launch of the game. Just like how we had Chronomancer, we might get Druid or Tempest next. Obviously, this comment was made earlier in the week, and so no Dragonhunter announcement yet. Until we reach the end of the line, likely the Revenant specialization would be the last. That makes sense. Then they'll release the expansion shortly after. So we could be getting it in about 10-ish weeks. That'd be nice. I'd appreciate it in 10-ish weeks. I still don't think it's going to happen in 10-ish weeks, but that would be quite nice. So then we also got a new fanfiction series going this week from Mel. Mel has started writing a story called A Story of an Overworked Progeny, Part 1. And this details the story of one of his characters, Anon, or Anon. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. I'm going to go with Anon because it looks like anonymous, whatever. And basically, Anon is the niece of his main character, Mel, and obviously they are Asura. And so this is kind of his role-playing fan fiction explanation about his Asura News Network. So that's pretty cool. I like how he's tying that into it. So go read that. It's pretty cool. And we also got another piece of fan fiction this week. We got Kelsandra Chapter 5. This one continues with the little spat with the what centaurs. I forgot the word for centaur for a second. But yeah, definitely go read it. It's really good. Go catch up on it while they're still early on. And this week we also got an article from Char Char. It's called Roaming is Hard. And this is kind of an interesting, like, it's a guide slash story about how he does World v. World roaming with his brother. And so that's really cool. If you need if you're looking to get into World v. World and you play a ranger, this is definitely a good article for you to read. He gives some advice specifically about roaming with rangers, but there is also some advice about how to deal with roaming in World v. World generally, how to deal with zergs and stuff like that. So if you're into World v. World, go check that out. And Drac, we have Sounds of Tyria this week. What is the sound that we're listening to this week?
We are still in the Eye of the North soundtrack. This week I chose probably a song that a lot of people didn't think I would ever choose. It's called Tome of the Rubicon, and it is the dwarf theme for Eye of the North. And many of you that listen to the show, and probably some of my other podcasts that I'm on, know my legendary dislike of the dwarf. Has been a part of me for a long time. I do not like dwarves in any shape or form in any game, anywhere.
Okay.
But besides that, I do really, really enjoy the song. And I think it's because, as I said in the little blurb I put before the link to the song, is when you listen to this song, you think Guild Wars.
Okay.
If that makes sense, it just sounds like a Guild Wars song.
Okay.
Jeremy Soule, I think he is just a amazing composer anyway.
Oh, definitely.
But especially for the Guild Wars soundtracks, he just kind of has a feel, and I think he really had a good grasp on the game and what kind of ArenaNet probably wanted, and then what he wanted with his music. And this is one of those examples to where I would anybody listen to this and tell me you don't think Guild Wars once you hear this song. If you have ever played Guild Wars, I guarantee you will think that. So go check it out. It's called Tome of the Rubicon, the dwarf theme. And it is, once again, from Eye of the North soundtrack. We are still going to be in Eye of the North for a while, and then I think I'm going to actually start on Guild Wars 2 for a while. So
ooh.
Look
Stuff
for that.
I actually know.
Look for that in the next. I'll probably stay in Eye of the North for about 2 or 3 more weeks, and then we'll venture into Guild Wars 2 land.
Awesome. All right, and so this week's video spotlight is called Bad Foley Chronomancer. And Athoros, what did you think of this video?
These videos, they confuse me so much.
I just pick great videos.
I guess you do. This is a video by Bog Otter, and it's I don't know if this bad Foley thing is like common.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure.
But yeah, I can't really explain what that is. I guess it's just where you sort of substitute your vocals for things that people do in videos and such.
So a Foley artist is someone who uses objects and stuff to make the sound effects used in movies and TV shows and stuff. So bad Foley is like just terrible quality
spoof,
sound
basically.
effects and stuff. Yeah. And so like with this, he basically just used his voice and his mouth to make purposefully goofy sounds to go along with the recently released Chronomancer trailer.
Yeah, I think he was jingling his keys at one point.
Yeah. I thought it was funny.
It's quite comical, really. If you like that kind of thing, then give it a watch. He seems to have quite a few videos of that, so.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So this week's weekly community outfit is of Izbo. I think that's how you pronounce it. And Izbo is a Sylvari elementalist who is a lovely olive and blue and pale yellow Sylvari. The title of the image file that was sent to me was Space Angel, and I thought that was very appropriate. Definitely fits using the Mantle of the Lich. It looks like she's got these little kind of wings coming off. She's also got the Fervid Censer back piece for like that nice yellow flower with little flower particles. She also has Bifrost, the staff with all the rainbow glowy bits. And yeah, I just love this outfit. I like the olive kind of green paired with the sky blue coloring. It's very nice. Very, very nice Sylvari. So if you would like to have your outfit featured on our podcast or our site, send it to us and it will show up eventually. I've gotten so many submissions lately, but it will be on the site eventually, if I can talk. So Thalros, what did you do this week in game?
Mainly played a bit on my Asura. My
Asura Necromancer. Everybody's heads explode.
Fafnir is now level 16. I have finished the Metrica province 100%, and I did the first chapter of the personal story. I'm enjoying it.
Hey, Zildra! Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I actually did find it to be strangely... I don't want to say pleasant, because she's not pleasant. She usually either, just threatens to punch people in the face a lot. But she seems less aggressive towards me when I'm playing an Asura than when I'm playing some other race. I don't know if it's because of this personal story in particular, but she just seems less abusive. To people who aren't in Quest, anyway.
Well, I just want to take a moment to reflect back on the history of our podcast and remind everyone that I think within the first 3 episodes, 2 of the episode titles were about how terrible Asura were or how terrible necromancers are.
Or both.
Or both. And here we are now. My main character is now a necromancer, and Thalros is leveling an Asura necromancer. So, how the tides have changed.
This is my I hate myself character. Yeah, I think the fact that when you got either were informed or found out that you don't have to use the pets, or they were even suboptimal. Mm-hmm. That was probably what it is. Because I think the Necro, I didn't actually mind. The Necro in general is just those pets are so ugly.
Yeah, once we found out that minions weren't a requirement of Necromancer gameplay, it was all on. But Asura, still.
I don't know why he's an Asura. I hate Asura. I still do.
This guy's kind of him super creepy.
He's about an Asura-like as you can get, though, in that he's usually pleasant. I went full charm on the personality trait thing, so...
Okay.
And he's, interesting face.
Interesting.
Pretty much all the conversations, he looks either bored or sleepy, so that'll be interesting when we get to Zaitan.
So, in other words, he is you.
Oh.
Okay, then. Yeah. He doesn't hiccup, thankfully.
Oh, yeah, well.
Because that would be awkward.
If there were a hiccup emote. But, Sarah and I also convinced you to do your first couple of rated PvP, or ranked PvP matches this week.
Ugh.
You didn't enjoy that. To be fair, I don't know what was going on. The first couple were fine. We had, reasonably close games, and it was fine. But then, the last 2 matches we did, we just got raffle stomped. It was awful.
It was a struggle to climb that mountain of salt.
Yeah, we all got pretty salty.
Including some of our teammates and the enemy, who seemed to enjoy flaming and Kraken-wise and whatnot.
Yes, it was not ideal.
I don't know what was up with that day, we were doing it.
I don't know.
Bad.
But I saw on Twitter some other people had issues with ranked matches also that day, so I feel like it's an ebb and flow kind of thing. Some days are just really terrible for whatever reason.
Yeah, aside from that, it seemed pretty much the same as unranked, though.
Yeah, well, minus the threat of Courtyard.
Yeah, I guess which is a plus.
Which is a plus, because
I do not like doing that mode.
No, that is the worst. PvP. So, Drac, what did you get up to this week?
I basically did Vine Wrath a few times.
Yeah, I taught you how to do Vine Wrath.
Yes, you did. I was just about to say, and thanks to you, I actually know how to do it now, because I have never done it.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that with you, and then I did it one other time.
Nice.
I'm not necessarily doing it for the portal drop.
Right.
If I
Same.
get it, I get it. But I'm basically just doing it to get some money because I'm very, very poor. So
And it is a great way to make
it's a
money.
very good way to get money.
That's exactly why I'm doing it too.
That's pretty much all I did in Guild Wars 2. I did do some more of the Guild Wars 1 anniversary event. It's
Mhm.
actually wrapped up. And I did some more beetle racing, and I stood in the 9 rings, and I'm almost to my next tier of my lucky and unlucky title, which you get for either winning or losing games.
Nice.
So once I hit that tier, I will get some more points that will help in my Hall of Heroes in Guild Wars 2. And I might have
Nice.
enough to get my bow skin. I can't remember how many more I
Ooh.
need, so...
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, so that was it. I always like doing those events in the original Guild Wars because they really know how to do events. I
Mhm.
think ArenaNet is one of the few game companies I think that really, really knows how to do an event, and it's fun and well worth doing. Even how many years later, I'm still doing the Guild Wars anniversary event, and it really hasn't changed. So that should tell you how fun it is.
Cool.
So besides Vinewrath, what else did you do?
Well, yeah, just I did heaps and heaps of Vinewrath for money. I've also been trying to figure out how to PvP on my Guardian, which hasn't been going great. It's really hard. Like I go up against when I'm on my Necromancer or something, I go up and I fight these Guardians, and they just survive forever. They just have these huge, massive heals, and I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've been playing with some builds, trying to figure out, even if I don't do like the traditional Guardian builds, like I've been trying to figure out something that I enjoy and can PvP with a bit. And I kind of finally figured something out that I like. It's mostly burning damage based and very conditioned damage heavy, sword and shield build, and it's fun. I mean, I'm pretty well known, I think, at this point for not buying into the meta and going against the viable builds, quote unquote. And so if it's not really a popular build, I don't really care. But it's fun. That's the important part to me. So I think it's pretty cool. I also gave my Guardian a makeover, and she looks completely different than what she looked like before. The only thing that's the same is her hair is still white, but now she's all like brown and green and gold color themed instead of white and blue, which I thought was a bit played out for Guardians. And besides that, I also made another Necromancer because there's never enough Necromancers in the world at this point, and I made a Charred Necromancer, and she's cool. And that's it. So this week we did get a Guild Wars 2 Academy question, and it is, how does loot drop work in landscape, solo/group/ everyone standing around wailing on world boss? And this was asked by DJ Pimp Daddy, and he was basically concerned that he was stealing loot from other people. But luckily, in Guild Wars 2, you don't have to worry about that. Like some other games, Guild Wars 2 uses open tapping, so it's like once you get some hits in on a mob, you get credit for it, which means everybody who gets credit for attacking the mob gets loot. Everybody gets their own loot. You're not stealing loot from anyone. So that's pretty nice. One thing, a lot of people speculate for world bosses, like, you know, the big giant bosses that come up in some zones occasionally. Some people speculate that being in a group will help your odds of getting better loot. Speculating that, you know, your contribution as a group means that you're technically contributing more because you're contributing more than just an individual would contribute to fighting the boss. So people speculate that that will give you better chance at better loot. Not sure if that's true or not. You know, couldn't hurt to try, I guess, but the point is, you don't have to worry about stealing loot. You're still, as long as you get some hits in, you will get loot from whatever it is that you're attacking. And this week, we do not have any Patreon mentions, but we would love your support. To help support Guild Wars players, simply go to the donation page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. And there you'll find rewards, including a mention, or even you can come on and be a guest on the show. And if you want to contact us, feel free to do so. We're all over the internet. You can email us at podcast@guildwarsplayers.com. You can send us asks on our Tumblr at guildwarsplayers.tumblr.com. You can contact us on Twitter. We're all of us are on Twitter. The Players Alliance Network is at Players Ally. Our main Guild Wars Players Twitter is at GWPlayers. I'm at Sithrith. Drac is at Draculetta_72. And Thelros is at Thelros. And of course, you can contact us in game. You can find me at Sithrith.6741. Draculetta is Draculetta.7410. And Atharos is Atharos.3164. The Players Alliance Network has a whole bunch of live shows. On Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is DDO Players News. Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern is this show. And Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern is Lotro Players News. You can find all these live shows by going to guildwarsplayers.com/live. There's a link there to our live chat room. You can go chat with people while they record their shows. So, thank you all very much for listening. This is Sithrith reminding you to look before you leap.